All right, now it works.
Oh, right there. Well, let's see.
This is at the Target Center. Every
Back there, right?
special
Yeah, back there.
we work with
See it on
the
top
move
right
team
there.
and celebrate.
Look how good she
Anything is
is.
there.
See it? Come on,
So many of us
cameraman.
actually were on that event as well. I actually
Wow,
was
look
one of
at
the actually handling the directions.
It's back to the back.
Today is yet another celebration. May Forum is actually to celebrate Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. That's May every year. On this forum, we will share our stories and we will look for inspirations and we will reflect on who we are and how we should move forward. Now I'm going to hand this forum over to our MC, Chen Zhou, and he will lead us through this great program today.
Thank you, Dong, for this wonderful. Can I stand in front? Thank you, Dong, for the wonderful introductory slides. Good morning, everyone. My name is Chen Zhou. Welcome to the May Forum. I'll be your MC today. There's a lot of you today here, so that's great. Thanks for the great turnout. Everybody can hear me okay? Not too much echo? Okay, good. So before we start, please remember to turn off your cell phone or put it in the silence mode, the airplane mode. Yeah, I see somebody doing that. That's great. Next, a very, very important question. Okay, so everybody pay attention, okay? You know where the bathroom is at. You know? Okay, if you don't, go out, right turn on that point, okay? So, please be courteous when you go or come back. We do have an intermission if you can wait. And also for the free bronze exhibit tickets, I think a lot of people are asking that questions. It will be handed out after the completion of the May Forum, not before, okay? Okay, so May Forum started in 2020 during the pandemic. In the past 3 years, we had over 50 speakers to give us talk. Some of them are in the audience. If you are one, please raise your hand. There are a few in the back end, so thanks for being our speaker. So this year, we're changing our format a little bit, and we have many firsts. It's the first time we're doing this in person. First time we're doing it in Minnesota Institute of Art. First time we had a singing group here, and the first time we will have an Indian panelist, and first time robotic team that brings the equipment for us to play, and they will be setting up in the back when you have a chance to go see their equipment. And of course, after 3 years seeing the governor in Zoom, he will be here in person, another first time. So let's go to the next slide. So as governor will be speaking in person, we only have a video for Senator Tina Smith. Let's play the video.
Hi, I'm U.S. Senator Tina Smith. Thank you for inviting me to the May Forum to join you in celebrating Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. In the arts and sciences, healthcare, education, and business, Minnesota's Chinese community makes us stronger and helps bring us all together. In February, I was honored to help celebrate the Lunar New Year, the Year of the Rabbit, and I saw thousands of Minnesotans at the Mall of America enjoy the dragon dance and think about the richness of Chinese arts and culture in Minnesota. And just a few months ago, the amazing Asia Mall opened in Eden Prairie, connecting Minnesotans to Asian food and creating a place for small businesses to sell their products and find new customers. I can't wait to go visit. And now that the weather is warming up, we can visit the beautiful Minnesota-China Friendship Garden in St. Paul. As the first sister city friendship garden in Minnesota, it is a great place to visit and learn more about Chinese culture. And at the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities, we have one of 12 Chinese language flagship programs in the country, which helps connect young leaders to cultures and experiences around the world. Our state and our country are strongest when we embrace our diversity, and we have so much to gain when we foster an appreciation for different cultures. In the Senate, I'm working to make sure that the contributions of Chinese and other Asian Americans aren't dismissed or overlooked in our history books. And that's why I support the Teaching Asian Pacific American History Act, which would require Asian American history to be included in the Department of Education's American History and Civics programs. Even as we celebrate the strengths and many contributions of the Minnesota Chinese community and the AAPI community more broadly, we know that the pandemic has hit your communities especially hard. Many of you have lost loved ones and experienced illness. Anti-Asian discrimination has too often led to hate and violence. This is unacceptable, and I stand with you in the fight for dignity and respect in this country that we all love. Your determination and strength led me to work with my colleague senators, Mazie Hirono and Tammy Duckworth, to pass the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, which provides states with additional resources to investigate and prosecute hate crimes. So I am grateful for all of your contributions to our state, and I look forward to continuing to work with all of you as we build a more inclusive and fair Minnesota together. Thank you again for inviting me to speak with you. May AAPI Heritage Month be a reminder for us to recognize and celebrate the contributions of Asian Americans every month. Take care, and I hope you have a great forum.
Thank you very much, Tina. I have to stand over here. So we're going to have our first speaker, Baldwin Chu. This is the first time we're having a documentary film director. So we'll start by watching a short trailer.
Growing up, it was always kind of a mystery about my dad and his side of the family. Whenever my brother and I would ask him about my grandfather, he would just say, "Oh, it's a sad story, it's not a big deal." One day we came across this photo of a gravestone, and that's when my dad finally told us that this is where my grandfather and great-grandfather were buried. But not in China, in Mississippi.
Chinese people in Mississippi? What happened there?
I actually don't know where we're going and where we're going.
Last thing I thought I'd ever find in Mississippi was a Chinese museum.
I guess there was more than just my grandfather and my great-grandfather.
When the Chinese first came to the Delta, they were treated like we were.
Everything was very segregated. I mean, it was black, white. We were just really in the middle.
I had to attend a segregated one-room schoolhouse.
Growing up, I read about segregation, and I thought that it only affected the black community.
I just didn't really think that it happened to the Chinese too.
What?
Great-grandpa!
Oh my God!
I knew all your family.
It is so important for people to know what happened with the Chinese Exclusion Act and how it affected Chinese Americans throughout the nation, including the South.
Can we test and see if Baldwin is here?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Everybody here? 1 second, we're putting you on the screen. Hold on one
All right.
second. Are you hearing us okay?
I can hear you guys.
Okay, so why don't I give a quick introduction?
All right.
It's so impressive, I have to read it, okay? Baldwin Chu, known professionally as only one, is an American rapper, actor, producer, and stunt performer. He started out as a professional mechanical engineer, like many of us.
Not a bad thing, not a bad thing.
He then worked in films such as Matrix, The Matrix, State of Union, Twisted. He worked as a stunt for director Ang Lee. Yes, that Ang Lee. Dian is also 3 times UC Berkeley Wushu champion. His video, I Want to Be an Engineer, has gathered over 1.2 million views. So let's give a big Minnesota welcome to Baldwin.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, before we start, slight correction. I'm not the director of Far East Deep South. I'm the producer. My wife, Larissa Lamb, is the director. She would probably beat me up and doesn't care about my Wushu championships if I call myself the director.
Okay, so he's the better at the Wushu. Okay, thank you very much. Are we able to show Baldwin our audience? Could he see us? Okay, all right, great. Okay, so welcome to the forum. So let's start with our first question. So what made you decide to film this documentary with yourself?
Actually, I can't see the audience. I'd love to see you, but I'll answer. Oh, there we go. All right. Hey, you guys are beautiful.
A full audience.
Awesome. Well, I mean, we started the documentary because I think several reasons. First of all, I hated American history when I was growing up because I never saw myself in American history. I just thought, oh, it's somebody else's history. I'm just here. It's boring. It doesn't apply to me. And then we discovered that my grandfather and great-grandfather were buried in Mississippi. And at that same time, we had been working, both me and my wife have been working in the entertainment industry for, I mean, over 25 years, each of us, mostly in front of the camera, whether it be acting or doing music videos or performing live on stages. We were always in that circle. But when we stepped into Mississippi and we found out that there's this, not just my grandfather and great-grandfather in Mississippi, but so many Chinese people living in that community, living in the Black community. And we learned about all the repercussions of the Chinese Exclusion Act. We didn't even know about the Chinese Exclusion Act, but when you learn about it, it doesn't really hit you until you realize that it actually affected your family and for multiple generations. So this history, we realized that, I mean, for us to have been prepared to be able to work in the industry, to work in entertainment, to have the ability to make a film, we couldn't just hold this to ourselves. We had to make it into a documentary, not just a home family video like I originally wanted, but Larissa was like, she never learned about this history. I never learned about this history. My brother never learned about this history. Most people in America never learned that Chinese Americans have been in this country doing so much, especially in the South, living side by side with the Black community, working on plantations. Nobody talks about that. How does that affect us today? How does that affect the rest of this country in how they look at us as Americans? Does it change the way they perceive our identity? And the answer is yes. So we had to make this film. We were very honored to release the film on PBS. By the way, May 18th, you guys could watch the film on PBS World Channel on May 18th. If you don't have access to PBS for whatever reason, you'll be able to stream it on pbs.org. For about a month after May 18th. So check that out, because we love that PBS loved our film. We love that they said, hey, this is a part of American history, right? It's not like I have a shirt, Asian American history is American history, because most people don't know that, right? No, most people don't even believe that. So our film was really to show the rest of this country that we've been here for a long time. We've contributed. These are authentic stories. It's not just for diversity, but it's true. And for people in America to understand who we are, how long we've been here, it's going to really affect how people view us as Americans.
Love that answer. How about Asian American history is American history? We agree with that?
There we go. Hey, we have a new shirt design coming out, so just go to fareastdeepsouth.com. We're going to have one out in the next couple of weeks. So if you guys want one, you guys can order one there.
All right.
Little
Fantastic.
plug.
Fantastic. Well, we have a lot of important people here, and maybe we can figure out a way to bring you and your film to Minnesota as well.
I love that. Would love to do that.
Second question. So according to Wikipedia,
everything in Wikipedia is true, right?
I believe everything in Wikipedia because that's how I use the reference for writing any stuff. So you're a rapper, and you are known as only one as a rap as your alternative identity. So can you tell us a little bit about that experience? How did you become a rapper?
Well, first of all, the name Only One has a very specific meaning. So when I was growing up, I really got into hip hop culture. I had a lot of friends that were listening to it. I listened to it. And then so I actually decided to do some rap music, and people would always say to me, "You're the only one that's Chinese and you're rapping. You're the only one that is rapping, but you're not a gang member. You're the only one that's a rapper and you're going to go to school and an engineering school. You're the only one that's rapping in Chinese and English." And then I was actually trying to do some stuff in the churches as well. So they're like, "You're the only one that's rapping about God," or "You're the only one rapping that's not cussing and doing all, you think you're the only one that thinks you can use rap music to make a difference and do something good." And they said, "You are the only one doing it, that you will surely fail because it is so outside the box. Asian people don't do this, Chinese people don't do that, Christians don't do this, and you can't do it for good." And I really felt like in my heart that something bigger was calling to me, saying like, "No, you have this skill set, you have this ability, and you have the opportunity. You're going to flip that word, the number one, into WON, one, meaning that even though I'm only one person, I haven't lost, and I will not lose to the pressures of the world, but I've won because my faith in God, who's the only one." So I really felt like this was a calling for me to just use my abilities, use my skills to be somebody that nobody ever sees, and to try to do something with the skill to make a difference.
Thank you so much, and you have won so much, so appreciate that, definitely. Okay, third question. Looking back at your experience, like you said, you achieved many things outside of typical Asian box. What would you say to a lot of young people, and we have a lot of young people here?
I love young people.
Yes, and many young people, young at heart, okay?
Yes, it's a feeling, it's an emotion.
Exactly. What kind of advice would you give to all of us, young people?
Yeah. Well, one thing I think about a lot is how, like, when I was growing up, people say, "Just work hard, work hard." And even the whole model minority thing is like, "Oh, Asians work hard," right? That's not a bad thing, to work hard. I think we all need to work hard. But I'm speaking to a bunch of Asian and Chinese Americans, I'm assuming, in the room. And so just speaking to you directly, I would just like to say, I don't know if that's really always true. I think we work hard. Our parents tell us to work hard. But I think a lot of us are fearful of working so hard that we take risks. And we're like, we'll work hard up to a comfortable level. And then we'll be like, okay, well, then that's it. We're not going to take any risks. But we have to remember that we are in America because they say this is the land of opportunity. This land of opportunity is supposed to be unlimited for us. Yet we, our own community, do it to ourselves, as well as we let the outside community do it to us, to say like, well, you are limited in what you can do. You can go to school now, after all those years of segregation. You can finally go to school, so we'll let you go to school, so that you got to put all your eggs in one basket and just go to school. And you can only be a doctor, lawyer, engineer. That's all you can be, really. But you can't run the business. You can't be on TV. You can't do this. You can't do that. Everything you see everybody else in this country doing, you cannot do that because it's too risky. It's too hard. Too much risk. And I hope you guys aren't offended by this, because I'm straight up telling you how I feel, because I want to see more of you out there. I want to see more of you doing bigger things than I've seen anybody that's Chinese or Chinese American or Asian American do. But you can't do those things, and I will never see you do those things if you don't take that risk. If you as a parent don't tell your kids, I work so hard that I want you to do something that I've never been able to do. But yet so many parents say, I work so hard that I don't want you to fail, so this is the safe way to go, to keep on doing what I've been doing and what for my generation. But I want parents, and this is what I'm doing to my own child. I know that my parents have worked. I know my great-great-grandfather worked hard in this country, but did they work that hard so that I can continue to do what they were doing 150 years ago? Grinding, doing what everyone tells you, and just stay under the radar. I don't think so. I don't think that's the American dream. I think our forefathers, 200 years ago, of Chinese immigrants in this country, I think they worked hard so that we today don't have to do what they were doing, and so that we can have that status at the top, to make a difference, to show the world that we are making a difference and we can contribute and make the world better. Not just America, make the world better. But we can't do that if we're just saying we're limited by just staying here in this comfortable zone. Oh, silence. Oh man, that's sad. That's hard.
Thank you for that wonderful message. I hope you can hear all the applause we are giving the.
Okay. Whew, I thought it was like, oh, silence.
Sorry,
Don't bring him back. Don't bring him back.
That's why I'm standing here. So you're getting tons of applause. So make sure you got that. Thank you so much. I love your message. I felt like that could be another rap. You know, you're gonna have millions of viewers. Thank you so much, Baldwin. Best of luck to you. And we're hoping to see more of your music and more of your films. Thank you so much. Let's give him a little more applause.
All right. Thank you, guys. All the best to you.
Thank you so much. All right. That's our first speaker. So next we'll have our first Indian speaker, Swasati Singh, to come up stage.
And can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who is Swasati? And maybe we should give her a
So my name is Saraswati Singh. My first name is pronounced Saraswati. My last name is Singh as in song. Feel free to come up and ask me if we mingle later. I'm a prosecutor working with John Choi at the Ramsey County Attorney's Office. I ran for Hennepin County Attorney last year. And let me jump back to my past to show you how I ended up to where I am now. My grandfather came many years ago. He worked for the UN right after India became independent. And so my family's been here a long time. And that's why I like Baldwin's message. I was born in Brooklyn, moved to Queens, went to high school in the Bronx, went to college in upstate New York, and then I worked for my US Senator, Hillary Clinton. That opened so many doors. And I encourage you, when Baldwin was saying taking risks, be your authentic self. And I learned that politics, I'm good at it, I love it, and I want to use it to raise the Asian community. But you need to be in the room to do that. I got a degree in political science from Colgate University. I went on to work for Joe Biden on his presidential campaign, going across the country, working with the Senate office, a whole bunch of things. I managed a government affairs department, and then I realized all the people above me were lawyers. So I said, this is what you need to do to make change. And so I went to the University of Minnesota Law School. I worked at the Minnesota Attorney General's office. I worked for 2 federal judges, state district court judge, and here I am today. And it's all doing things that my very Asian parents told me to do, going to Kumon classes, studying hard in math, and then learning I stink at math. But doing it anyway, because education is important and you need to learn these core skills if you want to, for example, oversee a state agency and you have to manage the budget. You need men. Kumon is good.
I think we all I'm not sure how much my kids love it, but I really love sending them to Kumon and getting good grades. You're the president for CAPM. So what is CAPM? Why is that important to the Asian community? I know there's some of your friends sitting in here, so, but you know, you can see good things, but we also love theirs.
You want gossip?
Yes.
So I was appointed by Governor Walz to the Council of Asian Pacific Minnesotans. That's what CAPM stands for. It is incredible. I didn't know it existed until about 5 years ago. We are one of the only states in the country that has a state agency dedicated to advocating for Asian Americans. The only state. And what's special about it is the governor appoints people to oversee this council. People like me, people from different Asian communities. It requires the government from the top to acknowledge that we exist, to know us, to appoint us, and to listen to us. We advise the governor, the state legislature about different things in our communities and how we're all different. We're not all the same. We're not all meek and quiet and have the same background. Some of us are refugees and some of us come from the stereotypical IT India route, right? Many different paths. I am so proud that the board elected me chair. So I oversee the state agency. So I'm testifying in the state legislature, both at the House and the Senate level. I'm meeting with the governor. We're talking about issues in the Asian community and telling them how big we are. There are over 300,000 Asian Pacific Islanders in Minnesota, 300,000 plus, and we're growing quickly. And what we do as part of our agency, we deal with the same things that you do, often ignored, not taken seriously, but we keep showing up. And it's our duty and we're proud to. And the fact that our numbers are growing are giving us more political power. And the fact that we show up to different events and we show up at the Capitol saying, look, these issues are affecting us, whether it's violence against women, whether it's businesses needing safety, things like that, a wide gamut of things. And so I'm so proud to be on the Council of Asian Pacific Minnesotans. We've gotten a number of things passed in the state legislature this year that will be entered into law. And it's a wonderful opportunity.
Definitely, I hear you guys has a lot of help in directing where the money goes to different communities.
Correct. It's hard work, right? Everyone wants the money. And I encourage you all, if you're interested, apply. If you want to join and get involved, apply. Join the council. Figure out if you want to know how to be appointed by the governor to be on the council, come up and ask. We do this together and we don't always get the results that we want. Of course not. But the thing is, we're in the arena and that's important.
Very important. Thank you so much. You recently ran for a political office. You don't look like a stereotypical Asian American politician. Yet you still got over 12,000 votes. Why did you decide to do it? And how was that experience like?
Yeah. As I told you, my grandfather worked for the UN way back when. He laid on railroad tracks when the British had occupied India and he got arrested. He was a journalist, he reported on it. My family is very uniquely political and very much values democracy and knows what it's like to be controlled by a foreign power that maybe doesn't care so much about you and cares a lot more about them. And I grew up in a political family, but I was always told, Saraswati, you have a funny name. No one's going to remember your name. No one's going to vote for you. You don't look the part. You're a woman. You're Asian. You're supposed to be meek and quiet. No one's going to believe that you actually have a voice, or they may not even listen to you. But I worked for Hillary Clinton, and you know what was the most shocking thing for me? She was just as tall as I was. In my mind, I had this idea that all these people on TV were super tall, super big, and very different. And then speaking with her, she's an introvert. I'm an extrovert, but she's an introvert. And hearing her speak, and I learned so much from her. And I was like, wait, if she could do it, maybe I can do it. And now I have a whole support system. And I knew when I wanted to run for political office after meeting her. And one of the proudest things about my run, John Choi asked me to run for Hennepin County Attorney. And this was my dream for years. It's to be the top prosecutor for Minneapolis and the surrounding area. And that seat became open. The person that was there decided not to run. I took that chance. Was it scary? Of course. I'd worked on many political campaigns, but had never been a candidate myself. I was the only Asian person in the race. I was the youngest person in the race, but I was the same age as Amy Klobuchar when she ran. And I knew my stuff. I had experience doing prosecution work, and most of the other candidates didn't. You have to be confident with yourself. And I love what Baldwin said. Just because your parents, my dad worked for the post office, my mom still works as a nursing aide, they work hard, but not just so that you can do the same thing. They wanted me to be a doctor, a lawyer, you know, and they weren't sure about the political things. But then they joined me on my campaign, and my mom, she doesn't speak good English. And she kept saying, Minnesota Attorney General's office. I said, no, Mom, that's not what I'm running for. I'm running for Henry County Attorney. That's a lot of work. But she just kept going around saying, vote for my daughter. And it was so wonderful because my parents believed in me, and it was helpful for them to see. And then they were cheering me on, and they were so proud because I would talk about my family story. And I love what Baldwin said. I know I keep referring to him, but my grandfather had to drink from the colored water fountain. My dad, growing up here, he was considered Black and wasn't allowed to participate in all these other activities that other people were. Discrimination has impacted my family, and it impacts other Asian Americans as well. And when I run, and because I did run, I could talk about it and advocate for us and be seen. I'm so proud. I ended up being in Time Magazine, over 12,000 votes. Many of the races that day, people won by just 2,000-3,000 votes. So it was, I'm so glad I ran, and I encourage all of you to run as well if that is your passion. And if you're interested, please come up to me. I believe in raising all of us together. There's not just one spot at the table.
Thank you so much for your message. Can you say your name one more time?
Sure. My name is Sir Swati, and my last name is Singh, as in song.
Can we all say it one time together? Sir Swati, Sir Swati. Good campaign chant. But we here at May Forum will remember your name. And
thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for the message. Let's give her a big applause. Well, thank you so much to our panelists. Oh, the governor just showed up. What a timing. The governor, for the past 3 years, you have sent in the videos in support of our May Forum. We really appreciate that. And you know what we appreciate even more is that you can join us here in person. So from all the May Forum family and friends, Governor, please come up and say a few words. Let's give her a big applause.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to see you here. And thank you to our hosts at MIA. This is an incredible facility. And we were talking about the collection of Chinese arts that are shown in this facility are quite impressive. To each and every one of you, it's great to be with you. First and foremost, it's Asian and Pacific Islander Month in Minnesota, which I always have a little mixed feelings about because you have always been here. You always will be here every month. And the contributions that this community makes to Minnesota is countless. Of course, in the arts, of course, in the business world, of course, in research, in all of our communities. And so you oftentimes hear me talk about One Minnesota, understanding that this community is a part of that fabric that is inseparable. When we talk about what it means to be Minnesotan, the community that's represented here is a big part of that. And I know that we have to continue to make that the case. It has been a challenging few years. We've sent in videos because we were not able to gather together in some cases. But we've come through the last few years, I think, stronger than ever. And we are making the case here in Minnesota that this needs to be a welcoming place for everyone, whether you are 5th generation living here or whether you got here last week. This is your home. The incredible diversity of our state is what makes us strong. Some of you may not know, I know some of you do. When I was a young man back in the 1980s, I had the privilege to live in Busan in Guangdong for a couple of years. And it was, I had great, I still have many good friends that live from Macau to Shenzhen and across the area, and very fond memories of that, very fond relationships that are built up. And I think in a chaotic world, as we build friendships, we build relationships, people to people, it's going to be more important than ever. So I'm incredibly grateful for that. I think it's incredibly important that our students understand our whole history, that our students are taught our whole history, that cultural studies are a big piece of what we do to understand our beautiful diversity, to understand why and what our past is, and that's all of us. So I think this year you'll see that the legislature will pass that piece of legislation. I would never, I am biased, I'm a cultural studies teacher and geographer. So I am biased on that, but I think we can trust our students to be critical thinkers and take that information in. And I think when we teach them that, we see the top levels increase. And I acknowledge and want to make very clear, we know that the unacceptable level of hate crimes have been geared towards the Asian Pacific Islander community is absolutely unacceptable across this country, and it is happening in Minnesota. And so I think you'll see legislation strengthening our hate crime laws to make sure that hate has no place here and that we will not allow the discrimination that does happen. So I think you'll see them take a move, a very proactive move, because we know our future is dependent. Our future is dependent on being a multiracial state that is welcoming to folk coming here. And then I think you're going to see the expectations all of you have. High expectations in making sure we're investing in getting results for all of our children. We don't want people just to live here. We want people to thrive here. We want people to bring this and talk about why Minnesota is the best. We want innovation and research. We want small business owners to come in. We want all of those things, and we want to acknowledge that there are systemic barriers in place. We want to get beyond the model minority message that's out there and understand that this is not a homogeneous community, but it brings so much to Minnesota that we need to make sure we're disaggregating data to put resources into the right place. We're doing things necessary to make a difference. And each of you in here have done that. I think spending time here today, listening and talking about the issues that they're celebrating, what this means to be Minnesotan and what it means to be Asian Pacific Islander in Minnesota makes our state better. So I'm grateful to be with you. I'm very hopeful. We are going to finish a legislative session on time. Yesterday, we made sure that we protected the vote for every single person who counted the right to vote. We probably recommend some of the barriers. We have a lot of folks here that are trying to navigate a very broken immigration system that we need to at the federal level get better. But we've said if folks are here, we're certainly going to make sure you get a driver's license and can get to work and take your kids to school. And in many of our communities, it makes a huge difference. And I just think Minnesota is setting itself apart, and the work has been done by people in here, because there are many of you in here have lived in Minnesota longer than my family. And there's many of you that are new to Minnesota. That's the beauty of this state, and that's what we can do, right? So thank you for inviting me to the May Forum. Thank you for making Minnesota the great state that it is. Thank you for knowing that your voice matters and that collective voice matters, especially in policy at the state capitol, and that your neighbors are celebrating what it means to truly have a Minnesota that is welcome and one Minnesota for all. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, Governor. Can we take one photo with you? I know everybody want to take a photo. Can you come up? We'll take a selfie with everybody, make sure everybody's in it, with our family. Yes, I'll take that. Everybody, gather in, okay? Make sure your faces show. Don't stand if you don't have to. Crawl down and all right. Thank you so much, Governor. All right, that was exciting. Everybody made sure there were faces in there? All right, okay, all right, fantastic. So now I gotta find where I'm at. Yeah. I heard the Fusha, everybody was clapping, it was like, are you guys from Fusha? Close, okay. So thank you for our panelists. Sorry, the governor is there, so that was good. So for our next session, we're gonna welcome Roz Tsai. Roz is the next panel host. She's Fortune 500 Talent Management Executive and longtime community volunteer in the Twin Cities. She will have three very, very exciting panelists, and let's hear their amazing stories.
Thank you very much. Really exciting morning. So as long as we're talking about Osan and welcoming all who come to Minnesota, we're very delighted to welcome a bunch of our Carlson School students who are visiting us from China this week. So all of you who are visiting, would you like to stand up and be welcomed? All right. We're delighted to have you here. All right. Asian Americans, we have a long tradition of being here. I loved the Saraswati's comment that we're 300,000 strong. And Governor, you know, your inspirational message that this is a home for everyone is so important for us because Asian Americans are scientists and physicians and inventors and entertainers, elite athletes, prosecutors and corporate executives and so on. And across America, we're today 20 million strong, 6% of the US population, just doubled in size over the past 20 years and expected to double again in the next 40 years. So this trajectory means that we are a source of strength and a force to be reckoned with. Now, Governor mentioned that there's been a lot of physical violence against Asian Americans. And so while these physical violence often makes headlines, the challenges that Asian American professionals face in the workplace are often overlooked and minimalized. In the workplace, Asian American employees face many challenges, and we are overrepresented in many fields at the entry level, and we're severely underrepresented in senior level positions. So what does that mean? In fact, not so long ago, Harvard Business Review published a review of data that shows that Asian American, I'm quoting, Americans are the least likely group in the US to be promoted to management, less likely than any other race, including Blacks and Hispanics. So in the face of such daunting numbers, we are here to celebrate. We are delighted to celebrate 3 Asian American leaders in our corporate world making transformative contributions and leading significant parts of their organization. It's absolutely a pleasure for me to do this conversation. All right, just very brief conversations because I do want to get our guests to start talking with us. Adrian Chu, right here, is EVP and President of Water Solutions of our Pentair, or a company that's based here. And Carol Uy is a co-founder at General Mills, an internal venture organization. It's called G-Works. And Amber Leung, welcome. Also with General Mills, but a founder and CEO in her own right and Shark Tank alum. So with that, let me welcome all of you. And we're just going to begin by reveling in this moment and let you each tell us what you actually do.
So Pentair is one of the world's largest water companies. We're about $4.2 billion in revenue annually. We think about our mission as helping the world sustainably move, improve, and enjoy water, life's most essential resource. And so my role at Pentair is I run the improved water side. So I'm the president of the Water Solutions reporting segment. When you think about that business, think about us being in your homes and the restaurants and the hospitality environments that you enjoy every single day. So water treatment is my business. So think about water treatment, filtration used in coffee, beverages, as well as ice and services that help you enjoy your water every single day.
Safe food. Thank you very much. Amber.
Well, my name is Amber, and well, I want to just take a step back. I feel more nervous now than in front of like when I was pitching to the Sharks because I'm actually talking to my people, like people that look like me, that have the same experiences as me. So I'm super honored to be here and very excited. So a little bit of what I do now. I think I would say that my to describe myself, like I am an entrepreneur. And you're like, wow, Amber, like, why are you an entrepreneur? Like, I'm not sorry to say that, because the simple word of entrepreneur is that you have an idea and you do something about it. And for the past 10 years of my life, I have been doing that. And now I have like best venture, best job in the world, where I'm with General Mills in their startup division to solve the next big food problem, big human problems related to food. And I get to work with extremely smart people every day, Carol, and finding that problem and looking for a solution to solve problem in a big way that General Mills and a Fortune 500 company can. So that's what I do. Fantastic. Speaking of very smart people out there. Hi. Okay, I'm Carol. I am a co-founder in crime with Amber and some others. My career path has been different. I've been 20 years at one company, and my background is in chemical engineering. I studied that because I liked chemistry and I was good at math. But what I do now is nothing compared to water filtration and distillation columns and anything else I might have done in one summer internship. And I realized that was not what I wanted to do. Having a background that's technical has helped to say, like, how would General Mills solve a problem related to food that you can't solve with Cheerios, that you can't solve with the nature that we grow, that you can't delight a kid with on fruit by the foot, or maybe, someone with Go-Gurt. I have literally worked on every single one of those businesses. And it's been fun, but it was time for something different. And so with Amber, we were able to start saying, how can we build a business together that is new? How can we be the own boss of that business? And how can we create some of our own future in an internal venture studio with the power of General Mills, the funding, the knowledge, the research behind all of that. So that's our adventure together, but very different paths.
Yeah, I want to celebrate you for the fact that when Fortune 500 companies want to fund startups, they obviously have a great deal of faith in your capabilities and in your innovative spirit. So congratulations on that recognition. So let's talk a little bit about how you get here. I loved Baldwin's comment around how do you take risks? How do you experience breakthroughs? I'm going to start with Adrian, because you have had quite a journey getting to such a tremendous global leadership role. Talk to us about all the risks that you've taken as you meandered through your career journey.
Yeah, so before recently being appointed the head of one of our businesses, I was the Chief Human Resources Officer and Chief Transformation Officer. And I would say these three jobs that I had and have recently, they were completely unexpected from my career perspective. Carol and I found out yesterday that we went to the same school at University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. I graduated from that school, started out my career in consulting. I was an application developer for large-scale HR transformation projects. So think about the coding that you might traditionally do coming out of college. Worked my way through project management, did a few years in sales and solution support, and then eventually got what I call a real job at a company and started out my career at Pentair as being responsible for HR systems, HR processes, and then found myself in total rewards in HR. And then one of my most fun jobs was I was responsible for helping the company split into two companies. So I was the program manager for splitting Pentair into what's now Invent, so community known Invent and the Twin Cities and Pentair. So it's been an incredible career journey. I never had a plan. I never really understood what I was going to be. I knew I wasn't going to be an engineer, lawyer, or doctor. In fact, I was an art major for 1 year at the University of Illinois. Found out I wasn't very good at it. But I think my career has been really unexpected and really fortunate, and we can talk a little bit about my perspectives and what I learned during that time frame.
Anything to add from Carol or Amber in terms of your journey here? I will say that I am not an engineer, not a doctor, not anything technical really. So I came here for school for journalism. So yes, I am the younger daughter, you know, who's like, it's like you should study, my parents told me you should study accounting. I'll be like, no, I'm not going to study accounting. So I came here with a non-technical, I studied a non-technical background. And then after that, I got into marketing. And then I was in my corporate life, like for 6 years, I was in marketing. And also because I'm bilingual, I speak Cantonese, can speak Cantonese. My great grandfather is from Heshan, Guangdong. So he went to Malaysia and then I came here from Malaysia. So it was an unconventional path. So I came here for journalism, went to the corporate world because I needed to really repay my parents for sacrificing like all of their life savings to send me to school here to America. So I did work at a corporate job. But after 6 years at a corporate job, I wanted to, and I reached, you know, at a point where I was a manager. I was like, well, I needed to do something new, like, and I quit my corporate job and started a business. And I actually didn't have any idea what I wanted to do, but it was the power of like online. Like I knew how to, because I was bilingual, I knew how to source and do product development from China. And then I knew the marketing speak. I knew how to market a product. That was so a combination of my identity as an Asian American and my experience as a storyteller, marketer. I was able to start a business that was short story, it was successful. I got on Shark Tank, I sold a company. So it was an unconventional way. I do not have a scientific, a STEM background, but I am able to be here and do, given an opportunity by Fortune 500 company, with the mandate to start the next, to find and start the next food unicorn. So, and I'm sharing the carpet with 2 engineers. So it's unconventional. You don't know where life would take you. And that is my unconventional path. Well done. Kara, I'm going to pivot a little bit because in your work, innovation by definition is full of trials and errors. And, I loved Baldwin's comment around how we've been encouraged to not only be excellent, but unfortunately also to take the safer path. So this idea about success, the importance of success versus the importance of stumbles and valuable failures. So I'd love for you to comment on why, daring to fail is so important.
Yeah, I think there's a mind shift change that had happened for me over the years, right? You start out in school, A is for average, right? Right? Kind of told our kids that too. But so much of your identity can be wrapped up into acing it, mastering it. And that's how you get your foot in the door to the good college, to the good job, etc. Right? Like you have to keep achieving and you have to master things. When it comes to eventually innovation, you are trying to do something no one has done before. So how do you master something that has not been done before? And luckily, within General Mills, there is a safe space where you can lean into that experimentation mindset. There's still a business deliverable at the end of the day. Those two are in tension. But there is a safe space to do that and to do it thoughtfully. But one story I will share is when probably one of the most stressful 5 days of my life at a period of time in my career, where we were working on a new product and the business tension said, like, we can't afford for you to do a long-term trial at full scale. We're skipping the trial. We're just going to go to startup. We'll do some smaller scale things,
there's no downtime. We need every box of Cheerios that goes out the door. So as a team, we leaned in and we said, this is as much information as we know. I consulted with people who had decades more experience than me. And we went in and said, okay, let's see how this goes. 12 hours later, we haven't made a single case of Cheerios that was good enough to sell from the market. Everything was trashed. And the senior engineer at the plant said, I'm shutting this down. We're not doing this anymore. You need to come back with a solution. I mean, this wasn't just like B quality, this is F. This is nothing's happening and everything is okay. So we had to drive back, kind of tangle between my legs, if you will. We had to figure this out. The wonderful thing about General Mills, though, is that I had some coworkers who said, you're gonna learn from this, okay? Just breathe, you will learn. This will be hard, you can do it, and then there you will find it. A lot of long days, a lot of teamwork to experiment and find that solution. And it was totally cool at the end of the day, the science that came out of it. We went back to the plant and everything worked, right? But those moments were hard. And to be able to think, especially when you've got your mom's voice in your head or your dad's voice in your head saying like, did you miss something? Did you forget something along the way? The support I actually had from other people was very important. So that's what I love. So courage. When you see someone who's in that moment, it's to encourage them that this will be a learning point. We successfully came out on the other side. We got a patent out of it. It has been used over a dozen times in other products. So anytime you eat a box of Cheerios or cereal with a high amount of fruit content, there's a patent and there's a reason why we do that. You know, as Jolton mentioned, that I am a talent management leader, and for kids who ask Auntie Ross, you know, what should I do after college and things like that. You know, I reflect on your story here because I always tell the kids, you know, don't follow your passion, follow your blisters, because you know, when you do things hard, when you do things that are high risk and allows you to really get the maximum of growth out of this, that, you know, you might be bruised, you might, you know, end up with blisters, you might end up with calluses, but that's where you know you found your true calling. So love that story. But I also love your point, Carol, around the fact that others are there to pick you up. Others that are there to say it's okay to try again and it's okay to learn from this. So I'm going to pivot to Adrian and really reflect on leadership. Here we're talking about innovation and leadership, because without leadership, innovation is not going to happen. And in all of your journey, Adrian, I think about, you know, you are a master, and I happen to know Adrian's former leader. So you're a master at learning very quickly, and you're a master at learning and leading experts. So I'd love for you to comment on, for all of us who aspire to become even more effective leaders, what would it take? What does effective leadership mean to you?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I got to see some of this as Pentair's HR officer, and then also see this just through my career. When I joined Pentair, one of my first bosses said something to me that I'll remember forever. So I can't take any credit for this comment. But I think exceptional leaders really do 4 things really well. And I think if you miss on those 4 things, you're not going to be as effective. The first thing is the ability to set an agenda or establish visions. So you have to be able to do that. The second thing is to be able to execute on that vision or deliver that agenda. The third thing is to be able to bring others along. That's sometimes where we always oftentimes forget that it's not just having a great idea and getting it done. It's how do you bring others along with you on that journey. And then the fourth thing is doing it right. If you miss any one of those 4 things, you're not going to be an exceptional leader, you're going to fail. And so when you think about looking at your own skills and how you're developing as a leader, make sure you have those 4 pillars. That's something that I took from my boss, and I would love to share it with you and take it on for you to have that and pass it on to others.
So this idea around having a vision that's worth following, that the ability to actually get the results that you're striving for and the ability to bring others along so that they too become leaders in their own right. And then to do it right, by doing it right, say more about what you mean by doing it right.
Doing it the right way, right? The culture, the empathy, think about ethics, think about business integrity, doing it the right way. And without that foundation, nothing really matters.
Thank you. In the interest of, we could sit here and talk about innovation, we could sit here and talk about how you make your pitches. I'm fascinated with even inside the corporation, you have to master the ability to pitch and the importance of leadership beyond being a technical expert, beyond getting that A for average grades. So Adrian, Carol, and Amber, thank you for sharing your stories with us. And thank you everyone for your attention.
Thank you so much, and as promised, we'll have an intermission for 5 or 10 minutes. When are we coming back? 10 minutes. We have 10 minutes intermission. In between, we'll play a video from Gao Hong and also a video from Baldwin when he raps. So if you have time to come back.
然后是那个采访，傍晚4点就是采访，就现场采访。
应该可以。
可以放视频了是吧？要share screen 吗？
是要 screen。
OK，对，对。哦。哦，可以是。有人跑哪去了？不管了，开始吧。对。
Okay, everyone, please take your seat. And if you see anyone outside, wave at them and ask them to come back in. Thank you very much. We're coming back from our intermission. Thanks to our previous speaker, it was wonderful. So we're going to start our second half. So let's welcome our next panel host, Dr. Lucy Ying Lu. She is a community leader and activist. She's a doctor of pharmacy and the Hamilton County Healthcare System and clinical associate professor at the University of Minnesota. She will have 4 exciting speakers and groups. Doctor.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. It's my honor to be here. And the youth is our future. They have unlimited sky waiting for them. And I am very privileged to invite 4 youth for this presentation. And we say our program is about heritage, it's about engagement, and it's about innovation. And our kids represent all those 4 areas. So our first speaker, our format will be slightly different than the previous version just because 2 of our presenters are remote. Our first speaker will be Andy Dunn. He is an elite athlete. So we're thinking about all the Asian kids are good at math and good at science. Yes, we do. But also we do have kids are good at sports as well. So the first one is Andy Dunn. He is a Team USA pair skater and has won many national titles from 2018 to 2021. And he just won the International Junior Grand Prix Lviv gold medal in and Czech Republic silver medal and the final bronze medal in 2022. So we can see a very short clip about
of their former team just witnessed their great program. Kayla Smith and Andy Dunn from the United States, 14 and 17, earning silver in Ostrava, gold in Riga. They'll skate the short to the summer of 42.
Now we have a quick interview with Andy online.
可以了吧？
可以了，非常好。Okay, it's now our honor and privilege to invite Andy Deng to be our guest speaker today. And he represents Team USA pair skater in multiple competition and won lots of titles. So I'm going to have Andy to introduce himself and tell us about his achievements first, and then we go through some questions. Go ahead, Andy.
All right. Thank you, Lucy. So my name is Andy Deng. I am a Team USA pairs figure skater. This fall, I'm going to be attending Indiana University in Bloomington as a pre-medicine student. Some hobbies of mine are driving, reading, I like taking pictures. These two pictures are actually some that I took. I also enjoy learning more about medicine and finance, and I like spending time with friends.
That's great. Andy achieved high in a lot of competitions. So Andy, do you want to, talk about some of those, even though, that probably just part of your life, it's not the whole picture of your life.
Right, sure. So some of my achievements, I'm a 3 times pairs figure skating national champion. This year, I won the gold medal at the Junior Grand Prix competition in the Czech Republic. I got the silver medal at the Junior Grand Prix in Latvia, and I won the bronze medal at the Junior Grand Prix final in Italy.
Yep. It's a lot easier just to read the titles you won and stuff, but I'm sure that's not, your whole life, and you have other interests and passion as well. So my question to you is, how do you deal with the challenge to balance the study, competition, training, and then the burden? How do you, balance that life and study and your ambition?
Right, that's a good question. So I think mostly for balance is just to kind of figure out what's important and what needs to get done first. So during the school year, if I have homework, I try to get that done as fast as possible while still keeping the quality really good. And after that's done, I don't have to worry about that anymore. And I can focus on other things like skating and like my hobbies, what I do for fun. But really, it's just keeping myself accountable for everything that I need to do and make sure it's done on time and at a really high level of quality.
Yeah, it seems like you put a lot of effort to do this. Is there anyone that in your life that inspire you to do what you're doing right now? Do you want to share a little bit about that part of your life?
Yeah, sure. So 2 of my role models are the Chinese pair team, Sui Wenjing and Han Cong. They recently just won the 2022 Beijing Olympics. And they've just been a huge inspiration for me, just in skating and in general, because both of them love what they do. They're really good at it. And they also do a lot of other stuff outside of skating, such as they do dance, and they will help with events that the International Skating Union might host, and they're just a great people.
Yep. So it sounds like the competition is not the end of the story, but it's more like it's the process, it's the passion. And when you have role models to inspire you to go forward, but actually you are the role model for people who have the same kind of passion or have some similar interest. Do you have anything to share with our your fellow friends or the younger generation in the community?
Yeah. So I think that the 3 most important things for me, at least, is the first thing is to find something that you love and just to keep working at it no matter what anyone else thinks or says. It's your goal and it shouldn't matter what other people think. The second thing on top of that is to create a goal and also have a few basic general steps to kind of get there. Like there's always going to be something that'll come up regardless of how much you plan. But for me, at least, I found out the best way to do that is to just let it happen and figure it out as you go. That way you don't stress so much about what might happen, and rather you focus on what is happening and you can adjust your life that way. The most important thing is just to never give up, no matter how much you're struggling. I know there were a few times where I had some pretty tough seasons, but I'm really glad that I pushed through those and got to where I am now.
Yeah, so that's hardworking perseverance is the key component. That's the spirit, and you're holding there for us. Thank you so much, Andy. It's
Thank you
a great privilege to have you. Thank you.
So our second one. So it's interesting that we have so many reflections of connections from one audience to the other. And our second speaker is gonna be Brian Zhao. Brian Zhao, can you, oh, yeah, he's online. He's in New Jersey. He's an 8th grader in New Jersey. So when Andy shared with us, and okay, he was talking about, he's talking about the dream and be authentic yourself. That's exactly what Baldwin said this morning. And also he said that you have a vision and you work on it. That's shared by Andren in our innovation panel. And now Brian is the one who has the spirit to kind of promote himself and also bring teams along. He's 8th grader in New Jersey. So Brian, could you introduce about yourself to the audience?
Hi, everyone. So I'm Brian. I'm an 8th grader currently attending Chapin School, Princeton. In my free time, I like to read, write, and play Quiz Bowl. And for me, my AAPI journey really began when my mom introduced a PBS docuseries called Asian Americans to me. And I watched this docuseries in 5th grade. And for me, it was extremely monumental because prior to this, I had never learned any Asian American history because it was completely excluded from my school curriculum. And so that really stirred something in me where I became more proud of my culture and my heritage, and I became more in tone with my roots. And so around a year after this, there was an opportunity to testify in the New Jersey State House, as there were a few senators in our state that were trying to pass 2 bills that would mandate Asian American history into school curriculum. And so for me, that was really exciting because it was an opportunity for me to kind of share and work to help others also learn about Asian American history. And so I signed up to testify on that day, and I was the only young kid or, young person there. And so while that was very nerve-wracking for me, I think I really outweighed the good because I was so proud to be able to do this for, my state and the people around me. And so I didn't really feel that nervous, and the bill was unanimously passed. And then later it was signed by Governor Murphy. So following this, I also published 2 op-eds about my experiences testifying and why I thought this was really important. And those were published in my local newspaper. And another big part for me was being interviewed by Dr. Erica Lee. She's an award-winning historian and author. And she did a small portion of me. She interviewed me for her upcoming book called Made in Asian America, A History for Young People. So it was really exciting to work with her and learn from her. And I also spoke at a conference over the summer called United Chinese Americans. And there I was invited as a panelist to speak about my experiences. And that was another great opportunity for me to help motivate those around me. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. It was so nice to see our younger generation is interested in our history, in our heritage, and also have to promote the community interest. That is outstanding. Just like, let me try my spellings. It's Saswati. Yeah, Saswati is what Justice Saswati is promoted for us. And Brian, thank you so much, and thanks for joining us. I hope you are doing well in your study and as well as your dream for your future.
Thank you.
Great to have you. Now our next speaker is gonna be Curtis Ying. Curtis
guy responsible for that. I'm going to have Curtis here to share your story. Curtis, please come over.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Lucy, for the introduction, and thank you to everyone for having me here. So as Lucy just mentioned, I am a junior at Blake, so right down the road in Minneapolis. And I'm the founding president of ALIS Twin Cities Branch, which is a student nonprofit that does community service. And one of my hobbies is that I'm a concert choir singer. I really enjoy music, and for me, it's been a really great way for me to diffuse some stress. And what I'm really proud of is just how much ALIS has grown and the speed at which we've grown, because ALIS has only been around for a year. We just hit our 1 year anniversary, and we've already done 90 ALIS events. We've grown from just 3 founding members to 70. And just seeing that many events consistently throughout the year is very inspiring, because most of our members are high school students. We're all busy people, and so having so many people sharing the same mission to help the community and being willing to devote so much time to these events is really something that I'm proud of. And through all of the members in ALIS, we've been able to better understand the community and better serve the community and give hope to so many people.
Yes, and could you share with us what ALIS is really actually is and what you guys have done?
Yeah, so ALIS was founded originally to make a larger impact with community service, but also create leadership opportunities along the way. Because leadership, integrity, and innovation are our core values, we believe that these values are really important to help our generation become the next generation of leaders and be a positive driving force in society, so that when we want to enact change, we can lead that change and not follow it. And so because of this, one of our main goals in ALIS is that anyone can be a leader. So from day one, we encourage people to plan out new events and also lead existing events and invite ALIS members to participate in these events as well. And just a little bit about the work that we've done in ALIS is that we have 5 main sectors that we focus on, that those being hunger, senior care, the environment, culture and public events like this one, and fundraising. And we've put a tremendous effort, especially towards hunger, by packing food, distributing food, hosting our own food drives, and also fundraising for disasters. And the difference that I personally made is, in addition to founding this branch, I've also led and helped organize many different service events. And I've also encouraged others to be leaders and use their talents in their service so that they feel more connected to the work that they're doing, and also are able to take a step out of their comfort zone so that they can also become leaders in the future.
So it's really, really impressive is about how quickly and how big your organization spent in just over a year. And it goes beyond this two borders. The two borders is actually the Twin City area. That's outstanding. And then there is an African proverb was saying that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go farther, go together. And this is a great example about inspiring others to join you to pursue to address the needs that community needs. This is outstanding. Do you have some pictures to show us?
Yeah, so just quickly before I show the pictures, just a little bit of advice that I would give is just that being a leader doesn't have to mean controlling everything. And as several speakers have mentioned earlier, leading others and helping others to feel more confident in stepping outside of their comfort zone and help lead others to do work is one of the ways that you can be a successful leader. And leading others and helping others to be leaders shows just as much initiative and leadership as being a traditional leader would be. And as Lucy said earlier, having strength as a team, having everyone together and having everyone supporting each other is very important, as the proverb says. When everyone is supporting each other, it's really hard for people to give up because it's such a team effort and everyone is united around the same goal. And so here are some pictures of some of the events that we've done as part of A-List.
Putting those mountains for this morning. Yes, do we have time to share one more minute? Okay, so Alice, do you have something to say about your family and your community? Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the big motivators for starting A-List has been my family, because from the time I was little, I believe that I should be grateful for all of the opportunities that I'm given, and should also be trying to help the community and give back to the community. And so my family's been a really big part of that and inspired me to start community service. We've been doing community service for a long time, but after I found out about A-List, I realized that I could make a larger impact if I was able to get more people to volunteer with me. And another big inspiration for me has been Andy Gu, who was an A-List national leader and also the leader of the Texas Paralympic branch. And what really inspired me was not only his outstanding academics and performance in competitions, but also the fact that he grew his A-List branch so much because of his innovation and creativity, and really embodying those core values that A-List stands for, and also at the same time somehow balancing everything and still having time to enjoy his hobbies. And that really inspired me to not only persevere in different events throughout my life and challenges that arose, but also to keep growing A-List so that I could be as strong of a leader as he was, and also better demonstrate my thankfulness for this community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
From both A-List and Andy, they all have a star in their heart and sort of they move forward. And today we share so many, there's so many of you to share that how you are the star, the sky inspiring others, and hopefully with also you too, someday you'll become somebody's heart in their heart. Okay, next is our robotic team. Our robotics team they won the first tech challenge. They have been working together for 5 years. So Aaron, Jackie, Derek, and Miss Elaine. This group, they set up the robot at the corner at the back. So if you want to practice it, you can go there and practice afterwards. I will let Miss Elaine, Aaron's dad, to kind of help me to run this show. Okay, welcome.
All right, hello guys, thank you for having us. We are Spontaneous Construction, a high school robotics team from Sherville here in Minnesota. And today we're going to be talking to you basically about who we are, what we do, and what we've accomplished over the season. Just first introduction about who we are. I'm Aaron, I'm a member of the software team, so I do programming for the robot, and I also manage the website and manage all the video production we do.
I'm Derek, member of the hardware team. I work on the design of the robot as well as 3D printing.
I'm Jackie. I'm on the hardware team. I get to work on the robot, helping build it, and I also manage the majority of our community relations, and I'm also the team captain.
Yeah, so first, who is Spontaneous Construction? So as I mentioned, our team name is Spontaneous Construction. You can see in the bottom left there. We have been a team for about 5 years now, competing in what's called First Tech Challenge. It's a competition that we'll talk about in the next slide. Each of our team members have up to 9 years of experience through First, and we are 11 to 12 pairs currently in high school. Some of us go to Mountain View High School, but a few also go to Southwest High School here close to the cities. All right, so what is First? First is an abbreviation that stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. Basically, it's a program for kids from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade in high school to basically learn how to build robots through competition. In the program, it's split into 3 separate sections. The first, I believe, for the younger kids. First Tech Challenge for middle school to high school, which is the one we're in, and then First Robotics Competition, which is solely for high school. In Minnesota, there are over 1,000 teams total, so there's a very large community here to get involved with. So the program we're in is called First Tech Challenge. In this challenge, we're basically challenged to build an 18-inch robot to compete on a 12-foot foam tile field. You can see an image in the bottom right there, which is actually of us competing at the state championship this year. When we're designing a robot, we're challenged to learn different things about how to do like basically the design process. So on the hardware side, we're learning how to design a robot and plan it out, as well as custom manufacturing of custom parts, both with 3D printed and metal parts. And on the software side, we learn how to program with real software, such as Java and Android Studio. And we also learn complicated robot control theories, such as using PID controllers for different systems. The actual competition itself is based solely on points. So you'll see if you go back there later that our goal is to pick up these cones and place them on top of poles. And so whichever team scores the most points basically wins a match. Robot contacts, like damaging the robot, is highly discouraged because for high schoolers, you can won't be able to afford rebuilding the robot every match. And also First Tech Challenge is more than just about the robots, which Jack will talk about later on.
In the past 4 years, our team has competed at the Minnesota State Championship, which has top 50 teams in Minnesota all compete together. Now this year, our team ended up as the first place team, which allowed us to travel down to Houston, Texas to compete at the World Championship. Thank you. And then during last month of April, our team flew down to Houston, where we got to compete alongside 200 teams from 23 different countries. We were able to show off our robot and the innovation behind it, as well as show people the impact we have in our community here, as well as globally. We ended up 3rd place overall in our division, which places our team as one of the top 12 teams in the world. Robotics is just more about it's more than the robots. We, as our team, we love sharing our experiences with the community, whether that's with local engineers down the road, teaching them about the potentials here and robotics and what kids are learning, and also learning about what engineers do, what their career is, and how they got to their position, as well as just discovering future careers. We're going to go to college soon, and being able to see the different career paths we can take through engineering and other fields is incredible. We get to educate the youth about STEM, so we get to go to different schools, showcase our robot, and demo our robot to get kids to drive it, as well as teach them how they can be involved, what they can do, and how they can take charge for the future. As well as mentoring younger teams around our area, teaching them that, kind of guiding them on how they can be successful and how they can also help others. And giving back to the community is something our team prides ourselves on, so that's why we love doing all this demo, as well as volunteering at local tournaments.
Over the years in robotics, we learned many different skills, one of which is leadership. And that is whether it's talking to groups of people like we are doing right now, or learning, or talking to engineers and learning. Another thing that we learned is, I meant to say public speaking, but part of that is also leadership, being able to stand out and bring out your ideas and contributing, as well as hearing ideas from other people. And another thing is project management. Since as a robotics team, we have different, such as hardware team, software team, we have different, a lot of materials that we need to work on, and project management skills is very important to keep track of everything. And that brings us into teamwork skills. We have to make sure that everyone is equal in their own part. And we also make sure that everyone is heard, as well as people who want to contribute are able to contribute. And that brings us to technical skills. And as a robotics team, we learn many other different skills, such as coding, 3D design, printing, building power tools. And since we are going into, majority of us going to STEM majors, we also learn a lot of industry tools such as Fusion 360, Jira, and Slack, and much more.
Now, robotics provides a ton of opportunities for us. Well, there's opportunities always in the community, but what's important is taking charge and using those opportunities. So being able to network with local engineers, we were able to even tour both of the Boston Scientific locations here in Minnesota because we were able to network with them. Exploring the different career paths, as I said previously, being able to see what I can do in my future and how I can help my community and how I can change the world is something very special. Touring and visiting different companies, again, being able to see the inner workings of these different companies, how people work together, what these different machines do, and academic scholarships that also come alongside with this, because college isn't free. And definitely creating lifelong friendships. I have met tons and tons of people through this program, and I am excited going to college, knowing that I'm going with some of my friends, and being able to share a strong passion with all these people is truly incredible.
All right, before we finish up, we want to give each of our individual stories to tell you guys how we got involved with the program and basically what we've been doing since then. Originally, back in like 3rd or 4th grade, I saw my sister in the program and I was like, wow, robots are pretty cool. And so I decided to join my own team. And since 4th grade, I've been competing every year with almost the same group. The reason I kept going with the program and didn't stop was because it was sort of an outlet to express all the things I learned in school, which was mathematics and physics, that kind of thing. It gave me the opportunity to actually use those and apply them to a real system that actually competed and had some like risks into it, and it was much more interesting than just having the theory, learning the theory in school. In the future, I'm going to the University of Minnesota to do computer science and focus on robotics.
Before I got involved, I was doing my own thing by myself. I didn't really know about this program until one of my friends actually introduced it to me. And from then on, I realized I was able to put my skills such as 3D modeling and 3D printing to the test, and I was able to contribute something farther than what I was just doing in my own free time as like a hobby. And what made me stay was that I realized that I was able to share about ideas with people with similar mindsets like me, and I felt like I was part of someone that part of a group that I belonged in. And in the future, I am also planning to go to the U, and I am majoring in computer engineering.
I thought I loved the program because when I was younger, I had a huge passion for Legos. I loved working with things hands-on, so I joined Lego League. And from there, I decided I really enjoyed this whole robotics aspect. So let's continue on with it. As I got through high school, I joined FPC, where I got to be a part of this incredible team that I see as my family now. And the reason what keeps me going is, again, my team, I love everyone, and just knowing my place in the family and in the community as well, being able to teach everyone about what I learned through my experiences of robotics and making sure everyone can see the awesome opportunities that are available to them. I will be attending the University of Minnesota to study biomedical engineering, so I can pursue a career in prosthetics.
All right, and that is all we have for the presentation. We have a link here, which is the okay, so if you guys are interested in joining the program or like starting a team, that kind of thing, you can talk to us. We'll be here for the rest of the event. So feel free to talk to us. We'll give you some contact information for the local FIRST programs and that kind of thing, so you can actually get involved and do some youth robotics yourself. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you, robotics team. That's outstanding. Thank you so much, and best luck to you and your future study. And you are really the future of a country, and I hope for the future. And you already dream. You dream big and dream loud, and you are making it happen. Thank you. Congratulations. Okay. Now this is the culture of our youth program, and I just want to share one quote from Bruce Lee. Under the sky, under the heavens, there is but one family. It just so happened that we're so different. So I think we are different. We're proud of our heritage, but we have shared the same thing, and we're Americans. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Louis. That was a wonderful job, and thanks to our youth speakers sharing wonderful stories. So next, I'll have a panel host, Sophie Liu Otterman. She is a community art advocate and organizer. She works at US Bank as database administrator. I feel a special connection with her because if you look at all the organizers, she and I are the only one who does not have a doctorate degrees. And these days, I'm practicing my DSPO very, very well. And a lot of people know her because she is one of the most important persons to happen in this space. So I want to have a special thanks. When she said there's a financial reason, she's like, I want this space. I'll put up some money and to get this done. When we said that we don't have enough people to get a big space, she's like, I'm going to get the people to come to this space. So She's doing a lot of wonderful things, and most importantly, when it's all said and done, the free tickets, she's the one. So. So she will introduce her speaker and it's the major reason why we are all here today. So Sophie.
谢谢大家。Now it's the culture heritage session. This is our third year of a very important event in our Chinese community because it's an opportunity for us to gather together to celebrate the Asian Pacific Islander Asian American months in the United States, a designated federal month to recognize the Asians' contribution, our challenges, our heritage in America and in the world. This year's guest speaker for our session is Liu Yang. Dr. Liu Yang is the chair of Asian Art Department and curator of Chinese art. Lovely museum in the world. Pivot to the purpose of our main forum, we are here not only to celebrate Yang's personal accomplishments, which you will hear in Chinese art history and Chinese art literature, but also his contribution to bring Chinese art to a world audience. One noticeable success is his capacity to make museum art accessible to a broader audience like us. So I would like to, my guest speakers, I have 4 guest speakers. I misspoken because Dr. Liu Yang will be the main speaker to lead us through the arts. But before that, we have the honor to have the Chief Advancement Officer at MIA to speak with us about membership and how the museum is being supported. The forum is to celebrate Asian Americans' contribution to America. One aspect of it is to build an Asian image, a Chinese American image, who's not only a taker, but also a giver to the community we live in. So let's welcome Miss Julianne. I definitely this morning, I really her full name, which I apologize. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me and welcome everyone. We're so thrilled that you're here. My name is Julianne Amendola and I am the Chief Advancement Officer here at the museum. I have the great pleasure of helping make possible everything that the museum offers to the community and working with wonderful colleagues like Yang. And we're very thrilled that for your first in-person event that you came to MIA, and thank you, Sophie, for helping make that possible. We hope that you'll have plenty of time this afternoon as well to spend in the galleries and to see the collection and the exhibitions. We have a lot that we're very proud of. I wanted to say just a few words, as Sophie noted, about the importance of giving, and I thank you for the time to do that. MIA is proud to be in our 108th year of service to this community. We were opened in 1915. And our vision is to inspire wonder through the power of art. And we do that in so many ways throughout the collection and the galleries and programs and experiences and opportunities like this for visitors to come to the museum. We serve more than 400,000 visitors every year. And hopefully that number continues to grow as we've been able to be reopened and accessible to the public. As well, we are one of the largest arts educators in the state.
We do offer programs for lifelong learners of all ages and do a tremendous amount of outreach to the schools as well. Another aspect of our work that we're very proud of. And all of that activity is rooted in the outstanding permanent collection that we have here. And for those of you who know the Chinese art collection, you know that it is really renowned around the country for the treasures that we are able to bring to the state and our communities. And as well, we do try to bring that collection to life, not just in the galleries, but also through special exhibitions like Eternal Offerings, Chinese ritual bronzes, which you hopefully will have a chance to see today if you haven't already. It is truly outstanding. And one of the things we think that is most important about MIA is that we are free and accessible to everyone. So we do have special exhibitions like this one, which are ticketed, but general admission to the museum is free every day. And that is possible because of the support of this community and the support of members, of sponsors, of donors and partners who generously contribute and make philanthropic contributions to allow us to be free to schools, to children, to visitors every day that we are open. So we appreciate it. And we continue to try to grow that funding for Phoebe now and in the future to ensure that another 100 years from now, we are still free and accessible to our community. And one of the ways that we do that is through membership. We have tens of thousands of members throughout this community who give every year to have an engagement with the museum, to support what we do, to help us be free and accessible. And in exchange, we do hope that members are able to have a richer partnership and relationship that they build with the museum. The benefits of membership include communication about what we're doing, invitations to events and experiences, obviously discounts and complimentary tickets and other opportunities to stay involved and stay connected with what we do, because what we do here is changing and growing all the time. So there is always something new on view, something new in the collection, a new exhibition. Again, all of which is possible because members support us. And that's our exchange with members is to be able to make all of that available. So we hope that that may be something that you would consider. You can look for more information on the website. You can also stop at the visitor services desk in the lobby and explore that opportunity, stay connected to the museum. We certainly hope that you will come back and spend more time with us in the galleries, exploring all that we have to offer. Thank you again for being here today. My colleague, Dr. I've had the pleasure of working with him since he arrived here in 2011. You're going to hear much more about some of his work with our Chinese collection, with special exhibitions. The show that you will have a chance to see today is his inspiration, his idea, his story that we are so proud to tell. It's been just a tremendous honor to work with him and pleasure to have him here at MIA. He continues to help push the collection further, to grow it, and also to do the kind of research and insight into the collection that it is enabling all of us to learn more about that wonderful history and heritage. So we will enjoy hearing more from him. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Julian.
有先生，我差点就说两句中文，大家呀首先柳先生呢，今天要给我们介绍一下观众和博物馆的关系。那么他就会先讲一下博物馆的历史给大家听。另外呢，因为大家看到了这个房间里的这个中国青铜器展的房间太小，我们不看的人今天看的人不多，所以呢，今天柳先生会这个我们请他主要用一个 virtual 带着大家在电视上仔细的把每一个青铜器展的房间呢介绍给大家。好，现在呢我就把讲台交给柳先生。
Thank you so much, Sophie and Julian. I'm so happy to be here and to see so many friends from our Asian American community.
to celebrate our heritage, to discuss our participation, our responsibility about how to build our better future in this country, the country we now recognize as our home. When we talk about heritage, then of course it's everywhere in our blood, in our daily life, in the language we used to use, and even in chopsticks we use every day. But it's also visibly reflected in the large collection of our Asian art in this museum. Museum recognized as one of the best collections of Asian art in this country. And we have just about Chinese art, we have over 10,000 objects in our collection with 15 galleries of Chinese art. So today, this museum, as you can see from this slide, that beautifully stands in between 24th Street and 3rd Avenue. And I'm not sure how many of you know a little bit history about this museum. So the museum was first established in 1883. That's a long time ago. Of course, not at this spot. So in the early stage of this museum, it was established actually by 23 citizens, not by government, not by by a company, but rather by 23 citizens. So at early stage, this museum stayed in the city library for many years until in 1911, there's a dramatic change. And so it was that year in the January 1911, the board of the museum received a letter from another citizen, a businessman, local businessman. His name was Clinton Morris. And he, in the letter, he said that we should consider to build a permanent home for this museum, for the collection. And so we should just find a place in this city, a beautiful, rather quiet place to build a permanent home for the collection and the museum. So he said that this best place is my home, this place. So it's about 10 acres, and by that time there was a mention for the Villa Rose. It's the family's home. He said that if the board can raise $500,000, I would like to donate this land to build the museum. So just in the next couple of days, that one of the founders of the museum, one of the 23 founders of the museum, William Hood Dunwoody, he said that I would like to contribute $100,000. So $100,000 at that time was a lot of money. And then next week, the fundraising dinner was held. And within 90 minutes, more than $300,000 were raised. And in another week, $500,000 was there. So the after 4 years, in 1915, this beautiful museum, the main part of the museum was open to the public. So of course, there's two major additions to the building, particularly on the side that was added in 2000, early 2000, with the contribution of the Target. The Target contributed over 10 million to that project of expansion. So at this, the brief history of the establishment of this museum demonstrate that this museum really was established by citizens, by the community, and it served community. And also that the support and help from the community is key to the development and this museum. So as I mentioned during the that was 2015, the museum celebrated the centennial of the establishment of this museum. So we are so grateful for generations of benefactors, contributors to this museum. So of course, there's many big names in terms of Chinese art. We had a great contribution from Alfred Pillsbury, as you are going to see this bronze collection show that today we have over 200 archaic Chinese bronzes, but over 150 were collected and contributed to the museum by this Alfred Pillsbury. And of course, in 1990 to the 2015 or 16, that another great contributor was Bruce Dayton, one of the founders of the Target. Then, of course, the contribution to the museum, can be large, sometimes can be small. As the Chinese said, 有钱出钱，有力出力. Money and energy, whatever you can contribute, all will come. So the participation and to everything in this museum will be so welcome. And also it's a key to the development of this and continue to develop of this museum. So I know that most of you going to see the exhibition, the one that I curated. That's actually going to end quite soon. Will be finished by May 21st. So I would use another perhaps 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes to walk through to walk through these. No worries. Sophie, don't worry. I know that. So we'll as I mentioned that the contribution can be large with the money, but also small. I will mention a small story during my walkthrough the exhibition. What a small contribution can be, and so here we have the title of this exhibition: Eternal Offerings Chinese Ritual Bronzes. This is a very special exhibition that I worked and partnered with renowned filmmaker and film artistic director Tim Yip. Most of you probably see the movie Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That movie was directed by Ang Lee and received Oscar award. And Tim Yip served as the artistic director. And because of that, the film Tim Yip also received the best artistic director for that movie, for his role in that movie. So the relationship between me and Tim Yip, Ye Jingtian in Chinese, is just like Ang Lee, the film director of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Tim Yip. So Ang Lee was the director. I'm the director of this show, and Tim Yip helped me to design the show. And so it's all about our bronze. You probably have seen the bronze in our bronze gallery, so or elsewhere in other museums. So what do you normally see that those bronzes are beautifully cast on view in showcases and divorced from their original setting. So people would admire how beautiful and exquisiteness of those bronzes, but they wouldn't know perhaps how they were used in their original setting. So this show really, I wanted to create, although imaginary, the original setting for those bronzes, to show those bronzes in their original setting in temple. So as you all know that ancient Chinese, even today, a lot of Chinese also live in afterlife. So that means life continues after death. And so that the ancestors' spirits need to be taken care well, so that to bring the communal good to the society. And so for that purpose, a temple was built and offering was prepared, contained in bronze vessels to present to ancestral spirits. So those bronzes are not for cast for daily use. Rather, they are sacred objects. They would only stored in temples, would never be used in daily life. So this show really, rather than in the conventional show, to display the works in the chronological way from the earliest to the later one, to tell the story about the form, about the decoration, about the symbolic meaning of those motifs. But this show really, I have selected a few important key scenes or settings that are so important to the ritual bronze culture and to the worship of ancestral spirits, including temple and performance of a ritual and banquet. So some of you might ask why banquet? Because you know, as I mentioned, that the offerings would be made to present to ancestral spirits. So that means in the lavishly prepared ceremony, wine meals will be prepared as an offering to the ancestral spirits. However, once the spirits came to enjoy those wine and meal imaginary. So after they finished that and enjoyed that, they departed, and all the participants would sit down to consume those wine and that meal. In that way, they believe they would communicate with the ancestral spirits. So that's why the banquet is very important in the process of a ritual ceremony, as demonstrated by poems from the time that those bronzes were made. And then, so let me just walk through with you so this is the floor plan of our target gallery, the galleries for the major exhibition. It's over 1,000 square meter, or 10,000 square feet. So we only used 7 galleries. As you can see, that we started from your right, lower right corner, then walk up, and then walk from the east to the west, then goes down and exit on this gallery here. It included 7 rooms, 7 galleries. One is called setting the scene, which really rather informative. You will see that then second one is called an mystic world. The third one, temple. Fourth one, ritual. The fifth one, banquet. And the sixth, rule of propriety in Chinese, which should be 礼制. Then number 7 is the final one, coming full circle. So here, my colleague, photographer at the museum, created this, what they call the metapool. It's a very good, almost like a Google map, so that you can, allow me to give you a virtual tour to the museum, to the show. And with this, probably it will be easier for you to to understand what's in the show. So here, this is the entrance. This is the entrance of the show. Well, one disadvantage of this is that it does not show you the sound and other lighting special effects, because this is a really not ordinary show that you have visited. Because in those shows that you only look at object labels and didactics, but this show really is a multi-sensory experience, which means not only look at object, you have to use all your senses to hear. We have every room has its own special soundscape or music. So it's designed especially for that room. And we, in addition to Tim Yip, we also hired a top lighting specialist, AJ, that he's really recognized as the best in the field. And he really made the show different with the special lighting. So pay attention to special lighting. And here we don't have that effect. Because this is but I will mention that here, this time, not like other show that your experience starts after walking into the entrance. But in this show, we want our visitors' experience starts at this spot before you walking into the galleries. So here we have this huge window covered with a blue curtain, and so that this area feels like it's bathed in blue light, and the tidal wall has a special lighting, and it's like a water kind of waving that effect. Then you walk into the first room here. This room, you see that the walls are mounted with wall painting, with a mural. So you will see a lot of wall paintings in the. Maybe we should turn the lights. I don't know which one, but.
Even the lights.
Oh, no, that's right.
Much better. Much better. That's great. Good.
No. Goes up. A little bit more. Okay. So this room you will see okay. So the wall is mounted with mountain imagery. You will see a lot of mountain imagery in this show, and but each mountain imagery is different. Each mountain. So there's a development of a mountain image. Sorry, I have a set this time. Can I talk a little bit longer, or you?
Yeah, I think this is a part of the tour, I guess,
Yes, that's it. Yes. All right. So each mountain is different. That you will see that the first one is really without any presence of a human and animals. Then you will see next one dominated by animals. Then the other one, you will see that the presence of man and fighting with animals or live harmoniously with animals. So there's an involvement of mountain imagery, which reflected people's relationship with nature, or rather with the wilderness. So here also you see this in this room that on the among the mountain imagery that is scheduled with the poems. You see that poems. You should read these poems because they are bilingual. And those poems are rather informative. They are not decoration. They are indicative to what you are going to see in the next 6 rooms. So there are information about mountain worship, about how heavenly deities and ancestral spirits sending down their blessings to the people, and also about banquets, about offerings. And then other thing that a visitor would first see in this room is this group of 3D printed 3D printed fragments. So these, I'm sorry that it's now turned dark, but it's because I want to share with you this wonderful story of how community engage with the museum, help us. So the museum serves community, but community support the museum. There's a story. So this a group of 10 fragments of bronze is printed, 3D printed from a same group that you are going to see in the last room. But here that it's a fragments. It's not complete. So the idea is that it's a suggestive that our memory about Asian history, about ritual bronze culture are rather fragmental, incomplete. But when you reach the end of the show, you'll see the group of 10 bronzes that those fragments were based are on view intact and in its beautiful form. So it's also a suggestion that this journey going through the show helped you to refresh your memory about Asian Chinese history, about ritual bronze culture. So this idea was the bronze fragments, of course, was the result of my discussion with Tim Yip. Particularly, Tim Yip liked the idea to 3D print it. But there was a question how to make these fragments. There was a discussion to have a professor, a sculptor from our neighbor MCAD, the Academy of Fine Art and Crafts Art, to help to sculpt them. But the time was so rushed that we couldn't make it work. And just at that time, a friend, a family from the Chinese American community came to the risk to help us. So I'm sorry that it's now too dark. Sam Roca, he is the 10th grade boy and really helped us to make this group of 3D prints. Sam, could you stand up? I'm sorry, it's so dark, but we should thank Sam for his contribution this wonderful exhibition. Although the contribution is small, but it's actually saved us a lot of money to 3D printed those fragments. And then the next room, you will see here this moving curtain that with the projection of a Yellow River. So the Yellow River is, as you all know, that is is regarded as the cradle of Chinese civilization. So this room really we designed as to transform a visitor's mood from the contemporary life to the Asian world. So all the works in this room are all in animal form. So that's the second room. I think there's a part here, so I have to go to the
maybe go faster.
Yes. So this is the second room that with the animals. Then we go to next room. the temple. So this is a temple room. You will see that there's a huge curtain in the middle depicted with the interior of a temple scene. But you should pay attention that although it depicts the same interior temple, but this front view and the view on the back is different because when you walk to the back of this room, that the time changes. The space changes. The time also changes. If you look at back from here, now you are in the evening. So pay attention to the change of the space as well as the time. Then next room is the performance of ritual. So here we have this altar that from there rises a smoke. This smoke reached to the heaven. The heaven is a film projected on this oval-shaped screen. So this is also meaningful. This smoke, because this is based on one of the important ritual performance in the Bronze Age. How did you communicate with this heavenly spirits? So the only way is to burn animals, to create smoke, to allow smoke to rise to the heaven, to communicate with the heavenly spirits. So here we have also wall painted with the mountain imagery, but this time the mountain imagery is different from the earlier one. Now you see presence of a man either fighting with animals or live harmoniously with animals. This then next one is the banquet. So here in this room we have 4 groups of bronzes in a very fancy showcases surrounding a center unit, which look almost like a fireplace with the special lighting. The fire goes up and down. Then if you look at a wall, you will find that it's mounted with wall painting. This is a painted rather than digitally manipulated image pictures. This is a painting that Tim Yip's company hired Chinese artists in China to paint that. So you should pay special attention to those wall paintings here. So this is all room is mounted with the painting, and you will see that this is actually depicted the night banquet in the evening. The scene of banquet in night. So night banquet, and you will see that the all the bronzes depicted in this mural are actually all from the exhibition. They are from our collection. So it's related. And so, as I mentioned earlier, that all the ceremony end in the banquet. Then next room, this is a beautiful room that one of my favorites. This is actually represents idea of li zhi, or the so-called rule of propriety. What is a li? Li is the social or moral codes that the ruler of the Western Zhou dynasty created to regulate people's behavior. So the purpose, of course, was to try to maintain the hierarchical order and to make sure that the royal family line continue forever without any interruption. And so in this li, or so-called rules of propriety, represented across all spectrums of the society. Everything has its own rules, like dining, dressing, traveling, even military practice, all have their rules. So of course, there's a huge impact to the bronze casting and the decoration ornaments. So here, the bronzes are grouped. For instance, I give you few ideas about how this impacted in their bronze casting. For instance, you see that in the front, these two vessels, you see that they are depicted with large birds. So the bird motif, or rather phoenix, were very commonly depicted in that period. They are actually equal with the ruler or king of the time. So to admire a bird was to admire the ruler. So that's why the royal preference and promoted the popularity of this motif. Then of course you see that men are more and more, human figure are more and more presented, but they also show the hierarchical order, because some figures are configured with the inlay of gold and silver, but the others are like a nude. So those nude one, like the one that supported this basin or pan. There's 3 nude figures. Those are apparently slaves. But this tiny figure here with the inlay and to depict the detail of the robe and the headdress and the shoes, apparently it's aristocrats. So here, then next one is the final one is the you see this group of 10 bronze based, which the fragments you see. The first one that Samuel helped us to print it is this group is here intact in its beautiful original form, and this case is very interesting because you have to stand close to the case, then look down. There's one mirror on the top of the table, then there's another mirror on the top of the case. The double mirror creates infinitive reflection of those bronzes. So actually this, if you look down from the mirror on the table top, you will see that those, it looks like the reflection of the bronzes looks like those bronzes were still buried in their original tomb. So this setting, this design is also attributed to Chinese archaeologists because of their work that helped us to excavate the bronzes, or rather Chinese past, to allow us to learn and understand. So here, this is the last one. Then on the wall, you will also see 3 model film of these 10 bronzes in motion that are moving, spinning, and the film is rather to encourage you to pay attention to those ornaments, this decoration. They are not just form, just the decoration. Rather, they are symbolic. They have a meaning. Why you see like this figure? Why it has this grotesque appearance? Because those vessels were made to help to communicate with the spiritual world, and so the grotesque feature or animal faces were really designed to help people to reach that goal. So with that, this is the end of my tour. Of course, that when you go into the show, that the feeling and to use all your senses, which is a very different experience than you visit other ordinary exhibition. So thank you for coming to Mia and to visit this show, and I hope to see you very often more here in this museum. Thank you.
I can turn this on.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Liu. I will make that later.
我们的灯怎么开的？刚才是谁开的？
Thank you so much for all everyone coming. Before we go, it's dark, so I got a chance to say a couple words. What we should celebrate Asian heritage. Not today, not only today, I should say, yes, today, but not only today, not this only this month, but we should celebrate every day. And shameless plug, we do have a June 3rd Asian fair that's happening in Plymouth. So if you're interested, watch out for the flyer. And we are trying to figure out how to turn on the lights, okay? I wanted to thank a few people, and I think Dongling is our president for this year. So Dongling, wave your hand. So Dongling, we want to thank him. I want to thank Jianping. Jianping, where are you at? Jianping is here. Well, let's give him a big Jianping is instrumental in pushing us to do this every year. We have been doing this 4 years, and every year we're like, this is too much meeting, too much work, and too much this and too much that. But he is not deterred. He's like, you have to do it. So, so we get to do that every year. Have so much fun. So I want to have all the volunteers, if any speakers still left, let's come up here. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Sophie, and all the people behind the scene that's working. Who is bring us water, bring us stuff. Let's everybody come up here. Let's take a group picture together, okay? No.
也是哦，你们还有那个，你们有个图片。没有，你是在那边整理吗？
Oh, nice talking. All right.
Oh, there's 3 seconds.
Okay.
Cheese, now. One more time? Yeah. Okay, 3 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
See other people doing
Will you
that.
end the picture?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.